Misunderstandings that cause us pain. Misunderstandings that cause us pain. Clarified by truth to bring love again. Clarified by truth to bring love again.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala khatamin nabiyyin amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim wa salatu wa salamu alayka ya Rasulullah
salatu wa salamu alayka ya Rasulullah
wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah
wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah
wa salatu wa salamu alayka ya Nabiyallah
salatu wa salamu alayka ya Nabiyallah
wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurullah
wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurullah.
The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam stated, there will be no shade on the Day of Judgment except for the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 3 persons will remain beneath the shade of the divine throne. It was humbly asked, O the beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who will be those people? The Prophet of Rahmah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, number 1, the one who relieves the distress of my ummati. Number 2, the one who revives my sunnah. Number 3, the one who recites salat upon me abundantly. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, welcome back to our series called Misunderstandings. Alhamdulillah, we are joined by our guest Abdul Hanan Bhai. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Abdul Hanan Bhai, we were talking about time management in our previous episode, how to manage your time, quality time. What does quality time mean? And how to engage with each other during that time. And we talked about one key feature which is prominent and holds a lot of significance in our times, which is the mobile phone. The devices that we have, they are jeopardizing, you can say, our quality time. Or we are connected with the entire world, but we are not even connected with our family and our neighbors. We know what is happening on the other side of the world, what sort of fish are in the sea, but we don't even know what my parents
what's cooked at home.
Yeah, what's cooked at home. Subhanallah. So this device is playing a great role in our society, and if we say it is a thing which remains with us all the time. And we could say this is our phone. People take it to the toilet. People, sometimes we change our clothes, but the phone is always with us. Even the last thing a person would do is go on their phone, and the first thing they would do is go on their phone. It's like a natural movement now. When you wake up, where's my phone? Where's my phone? And where's my phone? And if you can't find it, it's like you've lost something, you lost a piece of your heart or something like that, or you lost an organ or something. And it's something which is connected with us. And it's something, sometimes it's difficult to stay away from. And it plays this huge role in our society in modern times. And it's affecting us. If we deny that it's affecting us, then this would be a strange claim to be made. So we know that this plays a huge role in our communications, in our society, in our relationships. So how should one deal with this?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A very important topic to cover, actually. Mm-hmm. And a very interesting topic as well, because it seems like no one's able to manage how to use these devices. The actual use of device. It's not that everything within this device is evil, or everything within our mobile phone is evil. It's like you look at a knife. What can you use a knife for? You can use a knife to cut something, to your fruit, vegetables, with your cooking. But at the same time, that knife can also be used for harming someone, for injuring someone, taking someone's life. So, whereas knife can be used for something good, it can also, same time, it can be used for bad. It's not necessarily everyone with a knife, he's going to use it in a bad way. Same with fire. If you look at fire, it can cause harm. It can destroy things. But same time, fire is used for cooking. Fire is used for fulfilling our desires. If it wasn't fire, how would you cook for food, or how would boil things, etc. So these things you got to understand. There's no, when we talk about the harms of something, it's not necessarily that there is no goodness from it. You can sometimes always take some goodness from things, but it's how we use it. And a person needs to know its control of the object which he's got with him, how to use it. It's the same with the car. You know, car is very beneficial for a part of our life, right? But if someone misuses a car, I mean, he uses it for racing, speeding, and all sorts, he's gonna not just damage his own life, he's gonna damage the life of others. In the same way, if we are not using the phone in the right way, our devices in the right way, we're not just going to damage ourselves, but you're going to damage those around you as well. So it's important to realize this. It's important to understand this, that the bad effects of this device. So I think realizing it is the first step. Right? Because a lot of people don't realize it. It's becoming a use in such a way that the person doesn't know what is he doing. It's like, you know, there was someone once mentioned, and when I heard this, it was surprising, because this person who mentioned it well before our time, meaning years ago, when the mobile phone had not come out in the way it's come out. They were simple phones maybe, but maybe newly the phones which you would click the button and you could just speak to someone and you had to put credit in it, and that was about it. There wasn't the smartphones which we have today. But he mentioned, he mentioned a thing regarding this. He said there'll come a time when a person will walk out of the shower holding on to his phone. Meaning he won't look for a towel. He's walked out of a shower, not looking for the towel, but looking for where his phone is. Right? Looking that, oh, have I missed something? And if you look at it today, it's like that. But what's the last thing you do when you go to sleep? You check your phone. What is the first thing you do when you wake up? You check your phone. You know, I asked a number of students this question. I wanted to ask, what is the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? And what I was looking for was, I was thinking, you know, making wudu and reading namaz. That was what was in my mind. So when I asked them, I said, look, what's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? And they said, oh, you use our phone. He was being so realistic about it, and it's a fact. You know, this is the first thing we will do. Even that, you know, when we go to sleep, the phone is right next to us, and it is harmful. I remember Sheikh Tariqat Tamil Sunnah mentioning this, and you will find this, that the what do you call it, rays? You know, the rays of the phone, this is harmful. Okay. Right? And imagine some people having this under the pillow, right? And it can affect your body. And if it's right under your pillow, the rays will be going into your head, into your mind, and they can be harmful. So even when you're sleeping, this device needs to be kept far away from your bed, far away that it's sort of...
But it's so beloved to us. How can we put it so far away?
You have to get yourself into it. See, many things are left. Many bad habits are left. You know, there are people who've been smoking their entire life. But when they came to giving up, when they knew that it was affecting their health very bad, or they were with a sickness, or they were with an illness of some sort, they gave it up.
And sometimes, you see someone who's going through a sickness, and the doctor says, you can't eat this sort of food. And then they put their hands up. Someone's got diabetes or something like that, and they say you can't have sugary foods and this and that. And then they finally stop because of that fear that maybe my foot can be amputated or something like that. But over here, in this case, I don't think we realize the harms and the damages that it can cause in the long term. Like, the sort of videos that are on social media today, short videos, which are shortening the attention span of the person to 15 seconds. And after 15 seconds, they can't focus anymore. So they have to skip it to the next one, and then skip it. And then every time they see something new is releasing some chemicals in their mind, which makes them happy, and it causes an addiction to that. And they're continuously in the cycle.
Actually, the incident I was mentioning at the start of the person mentioning that he'll walk out of the shower holding onto his phone. And he also mentioned regarding this, he'll say there'll come a time when you will stroll your phone and it won't end. You'll continue strolling. And it's exactly what's happening. And especially some social media platforms which are like that, where you're just strolling up, right? And as you carry on, you're carrying on, it doesn't finish. You look at one video, you look at the next, you look at the next, you look at the next, it doesn't stop.
Continuous.
Right? I think a person needs to realize that how harmful this is, because it's taking up all your social time, it's taking up your time with your family, it's taking up even to the extent it's taking up your work time, right? It's taking up the things where you are doing other things in that time. You're eating, you don't even enjoy your food no more because you're eating like this. Your whole during the time of eating, your whole attention is towards your phone. So it's just realize this, that how much this device is destroying you of the way you were living your lives. There were simple times before when you didn't have these devices.
I was going to come to that. How did they live without these devices?
Some people. I remember when the normal phones came out, and people were saying, "Oh, it's hard to be without a phone." Right, because they would, and that wasn't when these smartphones were out. They were normal phones, because someone needs to contact you, and how do they do it? And I would turn around and say to them, how did our parents do it? How did our grandparents do it? They didn't have these devices, they didn't have these phones.
But someone might say, okay, fine, yeah, you say this stuff, but we're advancing. Why are we trying to go back to that primitive life?
It's not about going back to it. It's about it's overcoming our argument, really. We're thinking that without this, there's no way out.
There's no life,
right? Or there's no life. Although people have lived life without it, right? Even that, no matter how far we're going to go on forward, still, there are people surviving in the world without phones today, right?
Are you telling us
actually people who are very wealthy, people who are very rich, people who have great knowledge, people who have in different fields of life. I remember there was a young scholar, and he didn't have a smartphone. And alhamdulillah, a young man, very knowledgeable, very learned, and alhamdulillah, he didn't have a smartphone. I
know someone, in London, he's a chartered accountant.
Subhanallah.
And because he's connected with the environment of Dawat Islami, he grew up in Dawat Islami, but he's a chartered accountant, and he has those little phones, not a smartphone, a little phone, and he calls on that, and he's living like that.
So you can't just survive. You can still live. There are other means of gaining that. And it's not that we don't need to know what's happening in the world everywhere, right? Sometimes people think you're missing out on something. You're not really missing.
This is a phenomenon. It's called fear of missing out.
Okay.
And for example, if there's a story about this Alim Din. I forgot the name, but he went to study with Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi. I think you've heard of that incident. And when he goes there, he's traveled a long way, and he's studying with Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi, and outside there's some noise. He's, it's an elephant, there's an elephant, and people rush out to see, what is this elephant, because it's that phenomenon of that, fear of missing out. I don't want to miss out, let me see the elephant. But that person, he remains there with Imam Malik rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. When Imam Malik says, why didn't you not go to see the elephant? He says, I have not traveled all this way to see an elephant. I've traveled all the way here to study with Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi. So, but this still exists, and it existed before, but I think it's on very at a high level now that there's this, these new platforms, and someone's posting this story and someone's posting that status, and we're like, oh, let me see what he's up to, and we don't even know what is going on inside our heart. We're looking at other people's lives, and we don't even know what's going on with our life.
This is what it is. We're worried about so much. So many cases have happened, and I think we should learn from them. There was a case where there was a mother who was basically, she was looking after a digital pet or something. You'll find it on an application. Basically, you're looking after a pet. Okay. You're feeding it on a daily basis. You're giving it food
on the phone.
On the phone, you're taking it for a walk.
Really?
Right? You basically, this mother was so busy with this pet of hers on her phone that she couldn't concentrate towards a child, her own child. And what happened was eventually that child died because of not being
negligent,
in the state of negligence. And this is scary, when a person goes to that. You know, it's scary when if you think about it, that a person has to be in the toilet and he has to be on his phone. That he can't even sit in the toilet without being on his phone. He can't be anywhere without his phone. That is scary, because if that comes the case, then really, I fear that there might come a time then it'll be hard for a person to read his prayers without going onto the phone. And it's, sometimes even prayer, you see that state now. As soon as the phone rings, it's like, who could it be? Your full focus goes towards it, right? Your full mind vibrates, right? Because people put it on vibration or they put it on silent, and when the namaz, and it's like, or sometimes even that tone, it's like they're waiting for someone during the prayer. They're waiting for someone to ring or message. And this is scary, right? If these things, if these devices are going to move you away from the remembrance of Allah, right? They're going to move you away from serving your parents. They're going to move you away from loving your children. They're going to move you away from all these things, right? Then we should really be thinking. We should really be feeling that, is it right for me to have this? Is it right for me to use this?
It's taking us away from our real purpose, our real, a pen, if it doesn't write, does it retain its value? It doesn't, because its purpose is to write. Right? Whereas the purpose of a human is to do ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our purpose is to worship Allah, to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we are not fulfilling our purpose, we don't have any value in actual sense, like a pen. So anything that takes us away from our purpose is actually devaluing us. We are hardly ever focusing on our salahs. When we go to the masjid, many a times, sometimes it's an accident and someone's not turned their phone off. But it's regularly the case, you'll find, someone's phone ringing. And it disturbs everyone. And
it's both sides in that sense of Jamaat, where the person calling doesn't have this mindset that the person who I'm going to call could be in Jamaat, could be in the prayer, could be in
I wonder why. Because if we were regular people praying in Jamaat, everyone knows that this person will be in Jamaat at this time. Maybe it's still from our side. But again, that person should also be mindful.
Yes, definitely. So again, this distraction of the phone, these devices, where it's leading us, and it should really make us fear that if this is the case, and if we continue like this, we can be led. And this is just having the device or spending its time on some of the social media platforms of it. But if you're going to start going on to some of the wrong things, right, which is so easily led. So easily led. There was a brother once mentioning to me, he goes, I sometimes fear that when I'll start using my phone and I will start off listening to Talawat or listening to Naat, and he says that half an hour later I will end up with somewhere different. That was where I started from. I started from Talawat, I started from Naat. But he goes, by the time I realize I'm so far away, I'm onto something which has got nothing to do with Deen. And it's dangerous, if that's where it's going to lead you to, then not to have it would be a better option, or to find ways of controlling it.
You have on the phone, you have this feature which is it tells you after a certain amount of time you've spent this much, so you should turn off your phone. What happens? You put half an hour, 1 hour, but they have an ignore button at the bottom. Okay. So you just press ignore until you just turn off the whole system again. So this is.
But even that's a start.
That's a start,
if there's a focus towards it, there are many things which you can stop yourself. It's about putting away. Sometimes I think it's just a matter of putting your phone away in a place where you're not going to go out and grab it straight away, or you put your phone in the other room, you go and come and sit in this room, right? It's like, especially when you're sitting amongst your parents, just going to put it away, put it on silent, right? It's not going to be there's not going to be something that important, more important than your parents at that time, that whoever's on the other phone is going to be that important. And a lot of things, if there's even an emergency, there's always time for it. Like for example, someone he can wait around, he can do something.
People are traveling and they travel on the aeroplane, and the flight attendant says, put your phones on airplane mode, and no one can call you like that, so you do that. And at that time, no one can call you. What are you doing then? So what about the emergencies or anything? I think these are just excuses that we've developed.
So again, coming back to the stage of the usage of the phone, right? How people are using it today, and how people are basically misusing it. You can say it's going to such an extent of misuse that we talked about earlier that how a person starts up with goodness and he's end up somewhere else.
Yeah.
A lot of the and when once you go into the misuse of it, you get addicted to that sort of way. Some people have become addicted to gambling through phones. Some people have become addicted to other games and other things which they can't. It's like it becomes difficult for them to, I'm talking about games which if you're winning something, it could be gambling, but it could be just general games like that. People are so addicted to them. It's like you ask them, probably 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day they're spending just on that. And sometimes we are addicted to different series of dramas which people are watching, and they're just continuously watching that. And then you say to the person, the person turns around and says to you, look, I don't have time. Well, obviously he's not going to have time when he's going to be spending all his time on these devices. We're
wasting a lot of time on, especially if you check on your device, when the viewers on Madani Channel, you can check this as well. You have a screen time, you can check your screen time. And I was just calculating, and if you use your phone for 2 hours a day, if you use your phone for 2 hours a day, that is 1/12 of the day. So if you use it for 2 hours a day for the rest of the year, you've spent 1 month on your phone. You've just spent 1 month on your phone, a whole month on your phone.
I think if you start calculating in this way, and if you calculate, this amount of phone, if you live a life of 60, you might be ending up spending 10 years just being on your device.
Yes, I don't know.
Right. So it's 10 years of your life on your own device. And
what can you do in 10 years? SubhanAllah.
You can become an Islamic scholar, you can become a Hafiz of Quran within that sort of time. We've spent it on that. So misuse of it, and a person needs to realize that sometimes you can get very badly stuck. Sometimes it can put you going onto wrong sites. Wrong sites which might indecency, or leading you to crime, or leading you mentally disturbing you. Right? Or just, people make a relationship, friendship through phones as well. And you don't know who you're making the friendship with. On the other side, the person's claiming to be someone else, he's someone else, or she's someone else, right? So this is dangerous, and especially with your children are going to be using this. You are not monitoring them, and they are. Who knows where they get stuck? And sometimes you find children, they are looking for these sort of. They are looking to connect with someone. Why is that? Parents haven't given them time. Parents haven't given that focus point. They have to find that time alternative, that time with someone else. So all these things one needs to keep in mind. And when children go onto wrong stuff through the phones, first of all, why give them the devices in the first place?
But they demand it. Everyone else has it. Mom, I want a phone as well. This classmate has it. They make fun of me. So you don't even have a phone. What about that?
I think it's about giving them alternatives, giving them something else which they would able to use or get themselves involved in. Once you start to give them other things, what will happen is that they will have interest. Why the interest in phone is built? Because that's what's been given to them from childhood. As soon as the child starts crying, what do? You give the phone and you play something and you put it into the child's lap. The child's there rocking away with it, right? And sadly, if that time you gave him a tasbih, if that time you gave the child something else to play with, maybe that would be the thing he would be addicted to. That would the thing it would calm him down. Because children are children. It's like you give them something, it just makes them quiet. It doesn't necessarily have to be a device, a phone, or something to play on your
parents
phone.
Do think, no, they will only be quiet when I give them the phone. Why is that?
And it's a wrong thinking, really, because there are other ways of keeping the child quiet. There was a time when people And even in now, you get some people, when a child cries, what do? Allah. They tap the back and say the name of Allah. And tapping that child in this way, saying the name of Allah, and the child still goes quiet. So you don't have to give him a device. And it's because you got him used to a device now. Now to take it away, it's not as easy, right? Because he's so addicted to it, and he won't take no for an answer. That is what he will want. You put it in there. Now you have to play it in a different way. So you have to learn how to take them off that. Maybe put something out into their lives to bring that interest. And obviously, as they're grown up now, they don't. It's not to stop them crying now. It's to stop them getting addicted to it. So here you would look to alternatives, other things which will build interest and make them busy in other things, right? And once they become busy in other activities, they won't need the phone really. Phone is I would say phone is for a free person. Someone who has all the time in the world, right? He would normally sit on the phone or sit on his device and just carry on browsing, carry on looking.
We call in Punjabi vela. So he's got nothing to do. Nothing to do.
He's going to be on his device, and a person, it's not necessarily the person can't survive without a phone. Busy them. You find those scholars who have been busy, or those people who are educated, right? You will find that in their lives there is a very limited time for devices. They're so busy with their education, they're so busy with whatever they're learning, whatever they're practicing, whether it's the dini matters or whether it's the worldly matters. They're so busy in that they don't have time for device. They don't have time for sitting and watching a movie. They don't have time to spend time wasting in things which will not benefit them, right? So busy your children in doing things like this. When you busy them in other things, they won't have time for this. Is a way to remove them away, right? Okay, maybe sometimes you can give them a device and limit that time, but it's hard.
Because once you've given it, now it's difficult to take it back or to control it. So, for example, if a parent is thinking and watching you and they say, "Oh, I've made this mistake, I've given it to them. What now?"
It's hard to take back. It's very hard to take back. It's about. Sometimes it's very, very difficult, but you got to involve them in good company. Good company is what the sort of things which they will involve themselves in good.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to protect ourselves from all types of evils. Ameen. Bijahi Nabi Ameen. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Keep watching Madani Channel. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Misunderstandings that cause us pain. Misunderstandings that cause us pain. Clarified by truth to bring love again. Clarified by truth to bring love again.